Good evening, everyone, and welcome to League of Europe. We are here for the round one opener of Season 5 as we take in the Austrian Grand Prix from the Red Bull Ring. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the streams, as always, for my fourth season of commentary now, and joining me in the commentary box, as always, on a Saturday night, indeed, for this season as well, is Mr. Daniel Field. Dan, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing brilliant today. I cannot wait. It's been far too long since we've had some competitive League of Europe Division 1. 17 rounds over these next couple of months, ending it off all the way in May. But we have to focus on the time right now, the present, and that is Austria, pad track as it's known. And they're going to have a brilliant race today. We've got 16 drivers, but we are expecting to have a full grid, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, we are expecting a full grid indeed. It's going to be fascinating, of course. There's no driver standings, no constructor standings to go through. So, we'll focus straight on with the track map, of course. And that is Austria. First Grand Prix held here in 1970. 36 laps awaiting these drivers out on track. Around a circuit length of 4.3 kilometres. To you and me in old money, it's 2.6 mile. Race distance of about 155.4 kilometres as well. And the lap record around here held by Carlos Sainz. Held, of course, last year within the race of 1 minute 5.619. We shouldn't be too far away from that, I think, in terms of the lap time during the race, certainly. We've been calculating it up as well. 575 appearances between these drivers coming into tonight, and a multitude of 5,150 points scored between them. Those are fascinating stats coming into tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and also for just the winners that we have, we've got 4 different winners on this of the Austrian Grand Prix. Hardy won in Division 3 back in Season 3. M. Short has won it in last season for Division 2 before he got moved up into the top tier. Campbell won it in Division 2 in Season 2. And then we have, of course, Montana, the only two-time winner on this grid of the Austrian Grand Prix. He won it back in Season 2 and, of course, last season in Season 4. So a lot of these guys have got the experience to win a race around this circuit, and they'll know their way around, especially guys who have won it recently, like M. Short and Montana. Those are guys that you do have to watch out for today.
Yeah, Montana, Alphatrix as well, I think we could mention within that mould. Of course, he was a former champion here in League of Europe Season 3. Between Montana and Alphatrix, though, I'm just looking at the points average that both of them have got throughout their LOE career. Montana's got 975 points. Now, if he wins tonight, he will be the first man ever in League of Europe history to score 1,000 points, which is an absolute phenomenal record to have within League of Europe, and a strike rate of about 42.3% in terms of win rate. Just really claims him to be top of the pile. But we saw in pre-season he didn't really get things his own way, with Alphatrix and Connor being his nearest pursuers.
Yeah, and the two Alphatrix and Connor, the two Brits, of course, lining up in that Red Bull car. You really do have to put them as favourites for the Constructors' Championship for this entire season. Both these guys, so strong. Alphatrix ran Montana right until the end, and Connor, he was able to come in last season in 6 appearances, and I believe his lowest position was about 3rd, so he has got the potential to be lethal in this championship.
Daka coming in with a comment there, literally just in the last few seconds. New season smell. Yes, we are here, of course, for the new season of Season 5. Division 1, and it's going to be an absolute privilege to take you through. Spag and Chips also coming in there in the comments saying, basically, LOE 1.5123. He's predicting that QVR will get 456. I can tell you. Well, if he's telling us, why doesn't he come into the commentary box and speak his action louder than his words? We will see, of course, how that is going to find out on track. Matthias saying Alphatrix and Connor could mess each other up, though, if they want to pit at the same time. Both of them, of course, teammates coming into tonight. But with all of that being said, we are about to get going. Dead on 20-7 here in the UK. 20-8, of course, Dutch time, and wherever you may be watching from in the world, welcome to our world. Welcome to LOE Season 5, and welcome to Division 1 for the first time this season. Of course, we are here in Austria at the Red Bull Ring, a track, as I said, mentioned with their first Grand Prix in 1970, and this track holds a lot of history. Remember Verstappen and Leclerc coming down in towards turn 3, or up the hill and towards turn 3, making contact. Are we going to see any of that, any of the scrimmaging here tonight?
Well, I definitely hope we have the same kind of levels that they did where they were at each other throughout the entirety of the Grand Prix, but I really don't hope it comes to blows like it did in real life. And there was a lot of controversy, and everyone was really split about it, but it was given to Max Verstappen in the end. But well, I don't really have an opinion on it anymore. It's long ago in the future.
What? Long ago in the future? Yep. Well, you can tell it's a new season, everyone.
The season's just started, and I'm already making mistakes like this. Unbelievable.
And he got voted newcomer commentator of the season as well, and he comes up with that on the first round. Terrible. That's your chance of getting that award 2 years in a row now ruined, I think, with that.
Hey, well.
Anyways, into qualifying we come here in Season 5. I'm sure Dan is not going to live over himself with that. But it is going to be fantastic. Nolan coming in there in the comments section saying, Connor versus Alpha versus Montana, a WrestleMania main event worthy right here. Are we going to see Montana out on track first? Of course we are. It's Season 5, it's Round 1, here in Austria, and Montana is first out on track. Some things don't really change.
Yeah, I really like that WrestleMania reference. Maybe it could be, I believe it was Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns going at it, so it could be Montana and Alpha Trix, and then Connor's there, right there to cash it in and steal it from right under their noses. It'll be a really brilliant fight to see these guys. It's two NSX drivers and Lone Wolf, I believe. I don't think he's affiliated with a team, is Alpha Trix, unless I am wrong, which I probably am, to be fair. But he is definitely one to watch out for.
Yeah, I think honestly Alpha Trix is probably one to watch out for coming into tonight. Of course, we have got Montana about to start up on a lap. No fancy graphics, no task system, as you might have been experiencing from me in TTML, and from Dan, of course, in One Hub, and PSGL, if I'm not mistaken, use the task system now as well. But Montana is coming around the final couple of corners. Through turn 8 there, and up the hill in towards turns 9 and 10. There is a bit of a difficulty about this track map. Yes, there are 10 corners, not 9, on this track, and now Montana preparing for sub 1 minute 3 lap time as we are about to get going, as Montana runs across the line to start up on his lap, runs up in towards Lauder corner at turn 1, hits the apex very nicely through there, bit of over rotation but nothing too much as he now comes up in towards turns 2 and 3. Nobody around him out on track, which I'm glad to report. His first sector split 15.7. He's already sub 16 through the first sector as Montana, as he now comes through turn 3. Again, a bit of over rotation fighting the car as he now runs down in towards turn 4, and he's backed off this lap. Montana has backed off this lap, takes it down into EOS 0, and clearly feeling the pressure because he's got me riding on board with him. He has backed off this lap, which I'm quite shocked in, to be honest, because I looked a very good first sector.
Yeah, I'm happy with the mistakes that he was making on the exit of corners that were really screwing him over there, as he's just been overtaken by Verstappen. He now is going to be the first one to finish up a lap of 43.7 through the second sector. It's looking strong from the Dutchman, and well, him and his QVR teammate Campbell definitely going to be one to ruffle some feathers. And now through Rinton out the final corner, it's going to be what is the banker from Verstappen. It's a 102.6, really coming out of the blocks already.
Yeah, Daniel goes 500ths quicker as well, so the Dutchman already going quicker than his fellow counterpart. Gazittle coming in third, and just Asas tops the lot. 102.5, now Chow Chow tops the lot on his debut, a 102.5, and now Kooky Games tops the lot with a 102.5. Are we going to get anybody else going first here tonight? We've already seen about 4 changes for provisional pole position within the first 4 minutes of this session so far, but it is currently Kooky Games out on top, Chow Chow second, and just Asas in third. I'll get that in there before anybody else improves. Connor is on the run up towards the final couple of corners, coming through turns 9 and 10. I think that was Toxic going fifth there, just 1,000th ahead of Verstappen, his former teammate, of course. But now Connor ran the final corner and he invalidates. And what would the lap time have been? It would have been quickest, 102.509. It would have put him about 400th of a second ahead of Kooky Games. But Kooky Games out on top, Jow Jow on his debut in second, and just Asas currently in third, as Neo has just gone fifth.
Yeah, they're all finding ways to go just that little bit quicker than each other. Alphatrix now rounding the second sector split is not looking too strong through the second sector. 44.2. He might be coming into the pit lane at the end of this one. He's not looking like he's too happy with this lap so far, but he is going to come through the last couple of corners. Unless I'm being deceived completely, I don't think it's a great lap from Alphatrix. He crossed the line. He goes slowest of them all with a 103.2.
That's why he went slowest of them all, though. He's on a set of medium compounded tyres, so Alphatrix slowest
sense.
on a set of mediums, and he's only 7/10 off Kuka Games, in fact, with that lap time. And lap time around here is about 0.8 seconds to a second in terms of improvement around here. So Alphatrix will be hoping to try and improve. M Short, by the way, backed off his lap. He's coming back into the pit lane. Name Changer has just started up a lap, formerly known, of course, as Spine, I believe, within this league. He's made so many changes to his name. That's why he's called Name Changer. He's racing for Shazoo, I believe, now, as he comes through the final couple of corners into the middle sector split. 44.3 through the middle sector for Name Changer. Very quick through the middle sector. Vaporizer went 11th there as well, 102.7 on his lap. But Name Changer now coming out the final couple of corners as he now comes through turn 9, through turn 10. This is going to be an invalidation. He ran too wide coming out of turn 10. I saw that from a mile off. Name Changer a 103.3 in the end with that invalidation. Quite disappointed. He would have been behind Alphatrix.
Yeah, not a brilliant run from him, but so unfortunate with that invalidation. He even got next lap as well. It's a really deadly corner, that one, but I'd just quickly like to correct you on that. Spine, I don't believe, is racing with us this season, but if you don't know Name Changer, you might remember him from his previous names, and he's had quite a lot. Rakin Messina was one that I remember the most. FEA salesman. I don't know where all these names have come from him, but yeah, he's changed his name quite a lot, so it's quite fitting that he's called himself Name Changer.
Kuhn Bly is on a lap time as well. I bet he's going to be really happy that I've pronounced his name this time. But Kuhn Bly is on a good lap. Oh, he's actually backed off this lap, so he's actually not on a good lap. He's wanting to try and get a lap in. Campbell is behind him, I think, on an out lap, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, both Reynolds are behind him out on track, if I'm not mistaken as well. So Kuhn now coming through the final couple of corners. Of course, Kuhn means something else here in the British language, so I'm not going to repeat it that often. But he comes out the final corner now to prepare off a lap. I think Zhao Zhao has just started on a lap as well, so we'll progress up to him. So he comes through the first sector, 15.6. He's 300s up already, theoretically ahead of Kuka Games on this lap time so far. Matthias, by the way, commenting there that Name Changer went into first gear coming out of the final corner, which is why he ran wide, I think, out on track. But Zhao Zhao now, for the IFR team, is now on a lap as he comes out of turn 4 and then towards turns 5 and 6 out on track. Montana, by the way, has just came out the pit lane. He is running through the final sector. Now Zhao Zhao coming through turn 7. He's 300s up, so he's still maintaining this gap up because Zizzle there to the right-hand side of him. Of course, for FRL Esports, if you watch the EML on Wednesday, he won the race as D. Daniel goes to the top of the timing boards. But now Zhao Zhao has got to find a lot of improvement. He was very quick out of turn 9, now out of turn 10. I think he'll go quicker, see it. Zhao Zhao, what a lap time. And that is how to take a final sector around Austria. Zhao Zhao's just shown it. That turn 9 was absolutely brilliant. That's where he gained the time, 102.3, and he's nearly a tenth and a half clear of D. Daniel.
Yeah, it was a brilliant time from him. He was about, he gained about 1.5 tenths just through that corner alone. Verstappen also just completed a lap, and he managed to go second, so the times are beginning to come down a bit. Unfortunately for some of the NSX boys, Connor and Rocco just can't hook a lap together. But we got M Short in the final sector at the moment. He's just begun it. McLaren car coming up from Division 2 last season now has a full-time seat, of course, in the top 2. He's now coming through turn number 9, wide entry and into turn number 10.
Montana comes across the line. He goes second. He did find time in that final sector. We're on board with him throughout that. I think M Short just came in behind to go 6th as well, and now he is he's just gone 6th. So Montana goes second, but it's still Zhao Zhao out on top. And if I remember, Zhao Zhao was back in FRL back in the day. Fantari Racing League, of course. I used to commentate on him in that, but Zhao Zhao out on top. Montana second, Verstappen in third, but plenty of improvement to be found. Just trying to see who might be on a lap. Is Toxic on a lap? Yeah, he's 500s down, coming through the middle sector, coming up towards turn 5.
Sorry, who was that you said? Toxic?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking quite strong at the moment. He's only found a little bit of time through this second sector, but just a fraction can put you ahead of your rivals, can insert him into the top 10. We'll see what he can do through the final sector. It looks like it's really clean through turn number 9. He slows it down, and they do this all the time. They just troll us. I think it's a sick joke they play on us, but Lando's in the final sector. Cookie Games goes to the top of the time street, and there's Montana, only by just a hundredth of a second off. Ahead of him. Lando just crossing the line. He would have gone into about 10th position, but unfortunately invalidated at the last corner.
Connor's spins coming into the pit lane. Connor over-rotating the car on the entrance into the pit lane there. You saw that physically. You guys who are viewing this, 38 of you who are viewing this, by the way, Connor just having a bit of a moment. It looked like he reset to track to try and recover the spin, which is very good indeed, I think, because it doesn't land him a penalty at all. Schiaparelli is on a lap running down, a name changer actually, more importantly on a lap coming through the final sector. He's got a Renault just in front of him coming into the pit lane, and he's invalidated coming out of turn 9 this time. Name changer, across the line he comes, formerly known as Messina, of course, 102.8, and he would have gone just in behind Rocco, in fact. So again, he would have been 18th with that lap. Schiaparelli is on a lap, 43.6, I think it was, through the middle sector that I saw. So here comes Schiaparelli, round the final 2 corners. He's very quick and consistent in terms of qualifying. Can he retake that to the race, though? As Schiaparelli now comes around the final corner, comes across the line, he goes 4th with a 102.4. Good lap there by Schiaparelli, and less than a 10th of a second separating the top 4 with 7.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, that was a really cool and calm final sector there. He managed to just absolutely nail turn number 9 and turn number 10. I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of the fastest sectors out of anyone, but only a few drivers who are on a lap, really on a push lap at the moment. I believe the only one who's pushing is Just Asas in 10th position at the moment on a 102.5. He's on the run up towards turn number 5. We have to take it wide and then hug the inside, and he misses apex a little bit there, going to lose him a slight amount of time, but he is up on his lap. And it says he's purple on the timing sheet, on the track map, sorry. Do not believe that is never telling the truth, as now just into turn number 9 and turn number 10. He's gone pretty fast through there now, also through turn number 10. He keeps it in 6th gear to keep up that speed and across the line. 4th position for Just Asas. He goes ahead of Schiaparelli, and one of the only 4 drivers into the 102.3s. A brilliant time from Just Asas, and really setting the bar for some of these guys.
Yeah, Just Asas, I've got to criticise that final corner, though, to be honest, for him out on track. He just took, obviously you took up 6th gear, he should have downed it to 5th and tried to get the exit. He just overran himself going into the corner. Jiao Jiao, by the way, is 300th of a second up already through this first sector. He's just started another lap, the Dane, as he now comes down in towards turn 4. Montana, Cookie Games, Jiao Jiao, currently your top 3 here in qualifying. Connor is on a lap time. He's just started, I think, coming up in towards turn 2, but Jiao Jiao is on a lap. Let's see what he can do. He's got a Williams just in front of him. That's Cookie Games. Appropriately, he's giving him a little bit of a slipstream coming out of turn 4, now through 5, and then through towards 6 and 7. Out on track, and he's even, and he's invalidated. Invalidated on the right-hand side. That was very, very harsh, if I've got to be honest, for an invalid lap. But Jiao Jiao will have to go again, unless he comes into the pit lane. And he will go again, it seems, out on track. But Connor, now in 20th position, hopefully he is going to try and get a lap in as well, as he is 43.648 through the middle sector.
Yeah, it's looking really strong from Connor, of course, coming up from Division 2 last season, really challenging the likes of Montana and Alphatrix. We'll see what he can do in qualifying if he can find himself inside the top 5, maybe on the front row out of turn number 10. And he's looking really strong on this lap. Where can Connor go? He goes 4th position, just behind Jiao Jiao and ahead of Just Asas, but not by much. And that makes it 5 drivers in the 102.3s.
Yeah, really good to see. It's actually 6 drivers now within the 102.3s. As now, I think that was Connor that went 5th on that lap time out on track. No, sorry, D. Daniel, who came across the line there. So D. Daniel went 3rd, but Montana ran on top. Cookie Games 2nd. D. Daniel 3rd, Jiao Jiao 4th, Connor in 5th, and Just Asas in 6th. 600th of a second, and now Verstappen makes it 7 into the 102.3s. Really good lap time there from Verstappen. Let's see what Alphatrix is doing. Alphatrix is on a lap. He's 700ths up through the first sector. It's very difficult to try and get an improvement on this lap time, but Alphatrix now coming down in towards turn 4. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, so at the end of the third DRS straight on the circuit, looking really strong from Alpha Trix, and he's got a racing point car of D. Daniel, just finished up his lap to his right, left-hand side, doesn't cause any issues, really nice and clean through turn number 5, and he's 1.4 tenths up. This is looking really, really strong from the Brit. He's got his teammate just up ahead of him, who's, I believe, finishing up a lap, and he'll be coming into the pits very, very shortly as...
oh, he's invalidated.
And he cuts the pit entry there, so really unfortunate for Alpha Trix. It was looking like a really nice and tidy lap, but now he's got a stack behind his teammate, and he would have been really fast on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, just looking further down the field, Name Changer coming out the final corner as well. Let's see what Name Changer can do. Comes across the line. He goes 18th, 102.7. Have you ever seen a closer field than this? If this qualifying was then now, 5.5 tenths, just under, separating the whole field. That's unbelievable.
Oh my word! As
Cookie Games
going to the top.
Yeah, Cookie Games going to the top of the timing screens, 102.227, and he goes a tenth ahead of Montana. Can Montana try and find anything though out on track? He's there in second, on sufferance, on pace, but he's got a big mountain to climb. He's got to try and find a bit of improvement. To be honest, I could see improvement out of maybe Jow Jow, Connor, just ASAS, Toxic, possibly Alpha Trix. I think all of these guys towards the bottom end of the top 10 can all improve. M Short and Vaporizer. Watch out for Vaporizer though, because he's got a good lap in him.
Yeah, the issue is when you get to these really short times, it's so difficult to find any improvement. And if you make just a fractional mistake, it can really cost you on your time. So these guys really have to be precise with their wheel inputs and their throttle application. Of course, their braking as well to nail a perfect lap together. We've only got a couple of drivers on their out laps. The rest are in the pit lane. I believe the furthest up on their out lap is it's a Ferrari car, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Oh, Cohen now around the final corner, coming across the line. 102.590 is his time. He's got Campbell 1,000th off him, and Kazizel 4,000th off him as Kuhn comes out the first corner and now runs up in towards turns 2 and 3. I'm not sure if there's a little bit of a glitch, by the way, on the comments, or if there's just a lot of fans out on track. Kuhn has actually backed off this lap. We've got 112 comments already, which I think is more than we got last season as a whole. So well done to everyone. Keep on going.
Yeah, the support is massively appreciated, of course, so it's really great to see everyone coming into Division 1, just see the first race of the season. I'm trying to find the person who's furthest up on a lap, if I'm not mistaken. It is going to be Kazizel, who's on a really good one at the moment, and look at that, he's got his AlphaTauri teammate of Shafilele, of course, the esports organisation teammates as well, to assist him into turn number 4. Really great work from those two to give the little edge to Kazizel. I believe that he'll probably repay the favour to Shafilele next time by. So coming through turn number 5, the Brit flies. He's looking really strong, and he's found about a tenth, just under a tenth and a half, and he's just got a McLaren car ahead of him. It's going to be hard to navigate all the traffic, but he's done so pretty well. Connor's out of the session, so he's not going to improve from 5th position. There's a Williams car just in front of Kazizel. It won't cause him any issues to now cross the line. What can Kazizel do? And he's going to go into 10th position, and he'll back off to give the slipstream to Shafilele.
Even with that, I think, as Montana goes to the top of the timing screen, 102.1. Toxic, one of our main focus drivers here tonight, is coming around the final corner. He's invalidated, but he's going to prepare up for another lap. I'm just trying to see who is furthest on out of the top guys. Jow Jow, 800th up, now coming through turn 9. He absolutely flies through turn 9. Now he's going to fly through turn 10 again, the Dane, as he's going to try and challenge Montana for pole. He goes third to 102.268. Not good enough for Jow Jow, but Montana out on top currently. Kooky Games has got 18 seconds to get across the line as well. D. Daniel is on a lap and he's 400th up, and now he's only a 10th up coming through the 100th up, I should say, coming out of the final sector. And now D. Daniel's got to lay this all on the line. We'll see improvements up and down the field. Alpha Trix has just started up on a lap as well, but D. Daniel now around the final corner. Let's see what he can do, the Dutchman. Montana, Kooky Games, Jow Jow, D. Daniel stays fourth but does improve on his lap time. Just Asos across the line, goes fifth. He found a little bit of time in that final sector. Chapelelli now across the line, invalidated 900, so would have been improvement. Toxic at 600s down. Apologies about the black boxes. Now Verstappen, I think, goes 8th. Short went 6th as well there, which is a good lap. But Toxic around the final corner, he's invalidated. He doesn't improve. Alpha Trix on a lap. He's 400s up. Currently, Kooky Games, though, is also on a lap. And I believe Jiao Jiao is as well. And Jiao Jiao's furthest on as he comes around the final couple of corners. And in fact, he's actually backed off this lap. Has Jiao Jiao. So Jiao Jiao now will be 3rd best. Kooky Games is invalidated, so I think that is pretty much it. Unless Alpha Trix can put in an absolute stonking lap here. Alpha Trix now doesn't want to get into that top 10, and he starts 13th.
Yeah, so the last couple laps are just getting to finish up. Alphatrix knocked down into 14th position by Cohen, and I believe that's it. Yeah, Hardy is not on a push lap at the moment, so we just got to wait for him to come back into the pits. I probably prefer him to actually take the flag, just because it's so slow to really register them in the pit lane, but it looks like he's going to pull off to the right-hand side, coming into the pits, and waiting for them. But what a first qualifying session. The total gap, I couldn't see it in the end, but I'd imagine it's very, very close.
Hardy on his Division 1 debut as well. I think he qualified in 17th in the end further down the field, but we get our first qualifying grid. It's Montana. Who else? On pole position from Kooky Games in 2nd. Good qualifying from him with Jiao Jiao in 3rd. D. Daniel in 4th with Just Assassin 5th. M. Short in 6th. Connor 7th. Campbell 1,000th off him in 8th with Verstappen 9th and Chapelelli running off the top 10. Just over 2/10 of a second separating that top 10. Toxic in 11th. Kazizel 12th. Kuhn in 13th. He improved 1,000th off Kazizel. Alphatrix down in 14th. Vaporizer 15th. Hardy 16th in the end. Lando in 17th. Neo in 18th. Rocco 19th. Name Changer in 20th. 5¼ tenths separating the top 20 out on track. And just to say, the comments are glitched on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, we don't have that many, sadly, but we still got 40 people watching, so it's really brilliant. So it's still very appreciated.
Absolutely insane. If we can get those viewing figures up towards EML standards of about 60 live viewers at any one time, it'll be great. I've just seen Spag put in a comment there a couple of minutes ago. It's raining in the race. It's not raining now out on track, but it's going to rain in the race. How spicy is that going to be?
That will definitely throw the spanner in the works for some of these guys, and I reckon that they probably could have had a little bit more potential, some of these drivers further down the order, but they might have been running a wet setup. One of those could be Alphatrix, and if that rain is coming later on in the race, you don't want to be on the softs, because then you'll have to make an extra pit stop. So it could have been strategically just backing off. He definitely had the potential to go to one of the top positions, but I think the guys outside the top 10 are going to be in the best position for this race.
It's going to be fascinating, isn't it? It's 20 seconds until we get the formation lap started. Go and grab yourself some popcorn. Go and grab yourself some crisps. Or grab yourself a throat menthol like me. And we will be taking you through the action. Myself and Daniel Field taking you through round 1 for Season 5 here of Liga Group Division 1. Division 3 and Division 4 also live. So if you want to tune in for that, you can. But if you want to stay here with the GOAT commentary team, newcomer commentator of the season, Daniel Field, and once former commentator of the season and James Head, then you can stay here and watch Division 1. Division 2 and Division 5 also 8 UK time. Dakar, Daniel Hoggard, and think Tatum Carter taking them through the action for Division 2, and Ivy Bryn Mike taking you through the division action for Division 5. But let's have a look at the strategies, the all-important strategies out on track. And we've got a bit of a mix, to be honest, out on track. It looks as if we're going to see that rain really influence in this first half of the race. So, top 10, of course, qualified on a set of soft compound tyres. Out of those, on a set of softs down the bottom, Kuhn, Alphatrix and Lando, 13th, 14th and 17th out on track. All the rest on a set of mediums. Kuhn, Alphatrix and Lando's strategy shouts out to me by saying, I think the rain's going to come within the first 10 laps of the race.
Yeah, I'd probably, I would push it to around about 15, because we've definitely, I think it's a very tough one actually to really predict it, but I think 10 to 15 laps, I know it is a big window, but you can't really predict things like this in F1 2020, because because it's just so stupid how everything works. I don't know how this game actually does work, to be completely honest with you, but yeah, I'd say that's our window.
Hashtag esports ready, of course, here in League of Europe. Well, we hope we're esports ready. We hope we're going to provide you with a bit of normality, I should say, on your Saturday night. We're still in lockdown here in the UK, but goodness me, we are prepared for a potential season opener that is going to live down in history and in memory. Quickly, Dan, I'm going to come across to you. Who's your top three?
My top three is going to be Montana, Jiao Jiao, and Connor.
Montana, Jiao Jiao and Connor. Interesting indeed. Let's have a look then. The final cars now joining on the back of the grid. That's name changer. Just joined on the back. We see the run down and towards turn 10 just in the background there. But all 20 drivers now lined up on the grid. The rain has just started, in fact, out on track. The rain has just started for this race. About to get going. Season 5 about to get going here in League of Europe. And it's lights out, and away we go. Quicker start by Kooky Games. He could get Montana on the run up towards turn 1. It's a great start. Montana's going to be swamped from either side. Jojo's got an amazing start, but Kooky Games leads. Coming through turn 1. Jojo falls out wide. Bulls top 3 nearly make contact. There's an end plate flying. There's an AlphaTauri flying on the back. That's Schiaparelli that is round. But an end plate damage, I think, for D. Daniel. He's got left side end plate damage running up the hill. It's now Montana who leads, and in fact, it's Montana who's got the damage. And now D. Daniel leads the way. Here in Season 5, the rain is beginning to fall, but D. Daniel leads, and he's away by 4/10 of a second. Montana in second. Kooky Games at third. It's all hell for leather in behind him. Short now driving down the inside. It's 3 wide. And more contact, and it's absolutely disastrous. That was Connor into the back of just Ace, I believe. And now D. Daniel leads the way. First half of the lap. Goodness me, we're back, but we're back with a bang.
Yeah, Montana just getting that wing damage off of the car, and I believe it was Kooky Games after contact with Jiao Jiao, and now Jiao Jiao, speaking of which, is right onto the back of Montana, who I believe will be coming into the pit lane at the beginning of the second lap. Connor's been overtaken by M Short, who's pulling into the pit lane, so two of our really main contenders are pretty much out of this one. Montana's going to stay out, and Jiao Jiao now looking to the inside line towards turn number 1. Easy enough move for him. Montana does not want to make an early pit stop, despite the fact he'll lose a lot of time from this.
Goodness me, we're back and back with a bang, and it's D. Daniel who's absolutely shot away out in front. It's 1.7 seconds at least. D. Daniel is leading by, and in behind, JJ second, Montana in third, M Short fourth, Campbell is up into 5th position. Kooky Games has dropped down a couple of positions after a little bit of a mistake through turn 1. I think he's got damage as well on that right side end plate, so there's a lot of damage out on track. But Azao, actually, that's Toxic diving down the inside, nearly doing an Albon Hamilton sort of area. You can see the rain. I thought it was raining. I swear I saw rain at the start of this race, but obviously it must be different, as now just Ace and Verstappen now battle for what is, I think, 6th and 7th out on track, as now Campbell gets onto the back of M Short and Montana, and Montana is struggling, and M Short's right on the back of him, and the top two really getting away.
Yeah, we're going to have DRS enabled this time by, and I believe on the run-up towards turn number 1 is actually the DRS detection point, so it should be an easy move for M Short. I'd expect Campbell to be onto the back of the Racing Point car, who goes very deep into the first corner, and here it is. The DRS should be opening as, there it is. It's absolutely going to be a slaughter of Montana. Here's M Short. He's won here before last season in Division 2, and he had to dart to the right-hand side to go up the inside now in towards turn number 3, and Campbell's also having a look. And, oh yeah, unlucky there.
Yeah, Verstappen nearly got through on just Ace, that's just in behind, but here comes Campbell. It's now Montana, swamp hour essentially, here in League of Europe. It's now Campbell goes around the outside of him through turn 4. Great move by the Scotsman, round the outside he goes. Montana has got damage, he held his own though, Montana, but Campbell's just done him the dirty around the outside. It's a great move, and now just Ace is through down the inside. Montana is really struggling out on track. The defending champion might not even have a crack at winning this one, because Verstappen now is right on the back of him as well. Everyone is hunting around Montana, and it's not because of his pace, it's because he's got damage out on track from the early renewal, and now Verstappen down the inside and towards turn 10. There's more damage flying off. I think Toxic has gone to the back, and Toxic in the wall, and he's out of the race. Toxic's out of the race, and the VSC has been deployed. VSC has been deployed, and D. Daniel will lead under this VSC from Jiao Jiao second, and M Short in third. Montana, unfortunately, I think he was hung out to dry there. Looked like for a moment he was going to come toward the pit lane, but he hasn't, and he's down in 7th position out on track, as Kooky Games has got into a set of inters.
Yeah, the rain is now definitely beginning to fall. I think it was a visual glitch right at the beginning, but well, our prediction of lap 10 is completely wrong. But that was a kill switch that I think everyone needed to just calm down a little bit. I'd imagine the racing shoes probably haven't been worn in a little while, and they're getting their elbows out very early. But hopefully standards do improve because there's been just too much contact early on.
I wish this week was pre-season, to be honest, because there's been too much content, I think, or too much contact, I should say, out on track. But it looks like we're about to get going from this VSC as Toxic has left the session in absolute disaster. DRS has been re-enabled out on track, so it's still dry enough, and D. Daniel leads the way out on tracks. It's the other Racing Point who leads. Jojo in second. All the IFR guys saying, by the way, that he's very good in the pits. Campbell, by the way, into the pit lane he comes. Rain is falling. I don't think, though, it's the crossover point between softs and inters just yet. But Campbell is going to gamble, and he is going onto a green wall tyre. That means it's the inters.
Yeah, so I think we are definitely getting to that point. 3 QVR drivers onto the set of intermediates. Alphatrix losing the position to Neo. That's because he's...
Kazizel down the inside of Montana. These two go miles back in FRL. And yeah, Rocco, name changer Hardy, fighting further down the field. But here comes Montana, diving down the inside. Can he get the move done? Kazizel's now on the outside line. It's a shocking camera angle. But now Montana down the inside line, near the elbow. And Hamilton now score. They make contact. Goodness me. And now Lando is going to come into the fray as well. Lando's going to get Montana as a result of the contact. And Kazizel and Montana, these two go mile back in terms of FRL. But they make contact once again. They really hate each other, these two, and Kazizel and Montana now still stay 6 and 8. Lando, through and all of that, gets 1 free position essentially.
Yeah, you could argue that he was going to get it just because of Montana having that damage, but Neo's onto the back of him. He overtook Alphatrix in towards turn number 3, and that's because Alphatrix also suffering a bit of wing damage. He's lost his left front end plate. More moves looking like they're shaping up at the front. Lando really coming out in full force here. He's got the DRS, and he's using his overtake on Kazizel up the hill and in towards turn number 2. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Easy move for Lando. He moves up into 6th position, and he's got a little bit of a ways to catch up. Desas and Verstappen, just Desas beginning to struggle, it seems. Toxic rejoining the session. I'd imagine that's to just be a bit better race engineer for his teammate. I'd assume they'd be in the same party together. So good to see that he is back in the session. He, of course, can't race because he's out. So, yeah, he'll just be given the info on when to pit, really.
I think DRS is disabled to be next lap because we've just seen Alphatrix now struggling on a set of soft compounder tyres, and he's been overtaken by Rocco. Now Rocco's looking at Montana. These two again go quite a mile back as well. Out on track as now Rocco comes at Montana. The rain is getting heavier here in Austria as now Rocco cuts the inside line and the mediums work, and the mediums is through, and Rocco is through, and he's over into 9th position. Good move that by the Brit on the Swiss man, but it's still D. Daniel who leads. Zhao Zhao second, M Short in third. Lap 7 out of 36. Honestly, you would really think that this has been about half the race already, but it's not. Name changer through on Alphatrix. He's on a set of mediums and he's now through, but Alphatrix gets a superior run. Now coming up the hill and towards turn 2 and turn 3, but name changer just hanging on for grim life, and Alphatrix I don't think is going to lunge at Hardy and Vaporizer. In the meantime, we're on the back, and Vaporizer's another one that got damaged from the early scrimmaging.
Oh dear, Vaporizer, he's coming into the season debutant as well, so really unfortunate to see him, but what is happening with all these damaged cars? They're all making contact at least some point down the field. We've got some of the really heavy hitters. Connor did come into the pit lane at the end of the first lap with wing damage of his own, but Chapelele managed to make it past Campbell, so I don't think that the Inters were the right call. Actually, Cookie Games.
Montana's just nearly spun coming out of turn 8. He had a massive overcorrection, and now Name Changer is going to pick up that place, and Name Changer through, and he's into 10. One wonders if Montana should have pitted on lap 1.
He's sacrificing a lot of time, but he's still got a big buffer back to Connor, who is flying at the moment. He is one of the fastest cars on circuit and one of the fastest cars in the league, but Hardy's now got faced with a bit of a dilemma. He's got 2 damaged cars in front of him, and he's got to pick his battles. He has to choose when to make an overtake. He's gaining on Alphatrix. I don't think into turn number 3 he's going to send a lunge. He's having a half look, and he's right onto the rear of Alphatrix now, but he just can't find a way through, and he actually gets a bit of oversteer on exit, and he's lost quite a bit of time to the back of Altrix. That could have been his opportunity, but he just didn't take it, and yeah, he's just got to hang back for a couple more corners. He goes very deep in towards turn number 4. He's rearing onto the back of Altrix. The points beckon him, and he is going to take that chance as soon as he can.
Is it honestly one of these scenarios where the rain is falling, but the track's not getting wet at all out on track, and D. Daniel is leading. He's about to lap Kooky Games out on track, which is absolutely remarkable, I think. Kooky Games, of course, started second, got the lead in towards turn 1. He's all the way down in the back of the field. Montana is coming into the pit lane further down the field, and now he is going to be another one, I think, that goes on to a set of inters. But to be honest, the rain is falling. It's falling a little bit heavier, but it almost looks like it's not really wettening the track, to be honest, out on track. It could be these scenarios where we have a dry running on the race, it doesn't get that wet to switch to inters, and now we watch on board with Hardy, who's going to absolutely sail on by Alphatrix. Former champion, of course, in Season 3, Alphatrix. Hardy, though, is through, and he's into 11th position. Montana, the next one to come on to a set of inters, though.
Yeah, I'd just say it's a slight bit too early, as actually Hardy made a mistake at one point, and Alphatrix has found a way back through. This has bunched this trio up together, because now Vaporizers he can see these two clear as day, and Hardy's really struggling at the moment. I think we are just before the crossover point. I think we are so close to seeing it, but at the front of the end, the sharp end of the field, D. Daniel's lost a lot of time to Zhao Zhao. Zhao Zhao's really strong, and it could be his debut win in Division 1. I don't know how many drivers have done that and say that they can do that, but it definitely is close for him, and he has the DRS. Watch for this battle, because it could go all race long. Neo's into the pit lane, so is Hardy, so is Vaporizer. They're beginning to pull the trigger. I think they have to at some point.
More importantly, these guys are on a set of medium compound of tyres coming into the pit lane rather than a set of softs. So clearly these guys feel that the rain is going to come. It's probably going to be around halfway around the lap, as that's Kooky Games going out of the way of the leaders. D. Daniel leads by 0.8 of a second from Zhao Zhao in second. M. Short is in third, but I'm really impressed by Zhao Zhao's pace. D. Daniel was 1.7 seconds ahead at one point. That's now 0.7 of a second. He's been whittling that gap away over the course of the last lap or so, and to be honest, Zhao Zhao looks all over the back. The setup, if the intermediates now of the DRS was to be disabled at this point, this will be perfect for the leaders, as it looks to me as if D. Daniel is going to come into the pit lane out in front. Zhao Zhao is going to follow him in. Who's the quicker coming into the pit lane? It's D. Daniel, because Zhao Zhao just leaves a little bit on the curb, but both the leaders are in.
I'm sure it's in as well, and just ASAS. Yeah, it was definitely the right time. The entirety of top 6 coming in, I'd assume Kazizzle, Rocco, and Name Changer as well. Time is now. They cannot stay out on the same set of tyres towards the end of the race, but they've made their pit stop now, so they can go to the end on this set of intermediates, and it's just going to be a complete slugfest to the end. They'll have to brawl it out, but it looks like the advantage... Yeah, there it is. So no DRS will come to effect for the rest of the race, I'd assume, unless it somehow gets dried up later on, but it just seems so heavy at the moment. I don't see that happening.
Neo's had a massive undercut, by the way. He's ahead of Kazizzle coming out the pit lane, and now he's up into 7th position. The undercut, of course, pitted a lap earlier than these guys. Montana, who pitted a lap earlier, is nearly side by side with Alphatrix coming out the pit lane. Oh, how I would have wanted to see that on the lap on race 1 of the season. But it's Montana, 12, Alphatrix in 13 as they come out the pit lane. Everyone, it's just beginning to quieten down, which I think is good. Dan, by the way, Dan Hoggard saying in the comment section, these guys all want to make a statement early in the season. Think some drivers may get a slap on the wrist for what's happening so far, and hopefully things will tidy up a bit. Yeah, we like clean driving standards. They've got to push it to the limit, but they don't want to push it over the limit. That's what racing is all about. Make sure it's clean and competitive racing throughout. As Kooky Games has came into the pit lane from the back of the field, D. Daniel will, though, lead. Zhao Zhao, how good is he in these inters? We'll better see and test him.
Yeah, but he was really being bigged up in the chat, so you do have to expect that he will be onto the back, lurching at D. Daniel as soon as possible. As you can see, no DRS. He would normally be in that DRS range, but he's not got that advantage to his name because of these wet conditions. The DRS has been disabled, so he's just got to get there with all the grit that he can. As Chapelane makes it only 2 drivers to get a penalty so far. I'd have expected more, to be completely honest with you. As all these yellow flags in Sector 2, who is it?
Cookie Game's getting out. Cookie Game's getting out the way, I think, of Lando and Verstappen and the likes. So that's okay. He's now unghosted. So Cookie Games, I think, because it is ghosted. The ghosting system is on here in League of Europe. They can go through drivers essentially, but Cookie Game's now out of the pit lane. Spag's saying, what on earth is Cookie's strategy? He picked up damage early on within the race, so that is why he's down, further down the field in 19th position. Remember, he qualified second. Look at the position losses for him. 17 position losses. Montana down 11 position losses. Campbell, Connor, all losing position. Chapelletti and Cohen as well, but Daniel has gained 3. Looking further down the field, Lando and Neil's had an absolute time of it. They've gained 11 positions out on track, and we're not even halfway through.
Yeah, and I've got to say I'm really impressed with Lando so far, because he hasn't got that Division 1 experience that some of the guys around him have. I'm pretty sure everyone actually around him in the immediate vicinity have been in Division 1 last season, so he's really making a statement early on in this championship, as Dan said in the YouTube chat. So really important for him to have this pace about him. He's already leeching onto the back of a fight for a podium position. P3 is on the horizon for him. He's not too far off of the back of Verstappen and just Asas and him short, of course. So
here comes Vaporizer, Campbell, Alpha Trix. Are we going to see 3 wide and towards turn 3? We're certainly going to see 2 wide. We're not even going to see 2 wide as Campbell is through on Alpha Trix as he gets the move done. He's up into 13th position, but Alpha Trix gets a superior run out. Can the Red Bull now fight on the back of the Renault? Of course, going to be named as Alpine next season in Formula 1, or this season, of course, in Formula 1 in F1 2021. Vaporizer right on the back, though. Vaporizer is very strong in the Inters as well. Be very surprised if he doesn't try and get past these two, because he is superior, I think, compared to the guys. I've seen him race before in the Inters, and my God, he's quick. And he needs to put that to the test against none other than the Season 3 champion Alpha Trix just ahead of him.
Yeah, of course, second position in the championship last season. He is a giant in League of Europe, so it really would be sticking it to him if he can make a move very soon. He's losing time to the back of Campbell, and actually Vaporizer is having to lift off through turn number 9 and turn number 10. There's a little bit of a lot as he didn't get his wing changed. That's why he's struggling, and there's the move to the inside line, the right-hand side of Alpha Trix. Why didn't he get that repaired?
I think it would have cost him another 5 seconds in the pit stops. Look where 5 seconds would have put him, pretty much, with Chapelletti on the back of him. I think if he came out the pit lane and repaired that front wing, it's a little bit of a change. But also, does it mean that we're going to see a dry period towards the end of the race? That's why he might have not chosen to serve up his wing change there, because he's still got that left side end plate damage on that car. But it just begs the question, Montana, I think, got his change, if I'm not mistaken. I'll see on board with him. Yeah, he got his change. Alpha Trix hasn't. Are we going to see a dry period towards the end of the race, possibly, with him not repairing that front wing? Or was that something that just didn't happen, as Connor, on a 2-stop strategy, is right on the back of him? And his own teammates on the back of him, in fact.
Yeah, who would have thought that in race number 1 we'd be seeing the Red Bull cars in 15th and 16th. 2 guys who've been absolutely in last season. Of course, Connor was one really to impress, and they're just so far down the order. It's so... I can't even get my words out here. I'm struggling at the moment, but Connor, easy move on Alpha Trix. You'd say he could wait for a dry period, but why wouldn't you get it fixed in the rain, especially when downforce is all important at this stage in the race? So I just don't see... I think he must have made a mistake in not setting it to change. Maybe Montana, on the entrance to the pit, he might have just hit a wall somewhere to chip off a little bit more to ensure that they are getting that change, because that is a viable strategy, provided, of course, you don't take off your wheel. And I just don't know if Alpha had enough damage to really warrant a wing change according to his team, but it's cost him so much in this race. It's completely out the window, I'd say.
Yeah, if that was tasks, if we had the task system, I would say that's probably about 70% damage that he's got on that front left end plate. And Alpha Trix is just losing and giving away time. Connor was trying to get into the race. We're right on board, though, with the leader, D. Daniel, who was absolutely dominating at him from Vaporizer, picking up a 3-second time. But D. Daniel got the run of the race early on. Cookie Games, another one, just to pick up a penalty. But D. Daniel leading out in front. A second is the gap from Zhao Zhao in second. Now, Zhao Zhao's pace in the Inters have been nullified, I think, because if I remember last season, the only intermediate race we had last season, D. Daniel was one of the guys up at the top end of the field. and he is fighting with Zhao Zhao for this race win. I honestly, at this point, unless it was to stop raining now, I honestly can't see anybody else getting into this.
They've really been pulling away from the likes of M. Short and Just Asas. Very talented drivers in their own regard, so really is just showing that they're a cut above the rest. And they're just keeping this nice 7/10, so about 1 second gap between them. But Zhao Zhao looks like he's getting a little bit more feisty, and he'll be biting at the rear of D. Daniel very, very soon. 6.5 tenths is the gap, and that is closing. And if he's not careful, D. Daniel could be in the clutches really of Zhao Zhao, because he loses a bit of time to the first corner, so unfortunate from the Dane there. But this is going to be a very, very interesting fight.
Vaporizer closing up onto the back of Campbell for unlucky 13th position. Of course, that is the first position outside of the points here in League of Europe. Top 12 do score points, so that is why Campbell is 6.8 seconds behind on Montana. Montana's trying to gain on the back of Hardy. Vaporizer trying to gain up the hill and towards turn 1 on the back of Campbell, though, and through turn 1 they go once again. And a great run from Vaporizer on the back of Campbell. No DRS, just the overtake mode up to use up. And now he's got to be wary because Connor is just in behind him as well. He's 4/10 off the back. And look at Connor, how committed he is on the brakes. He's just joined right onto the backside of Vaporizer, but he joins onto the backside a bit too much because he's got to make up all that time again.
Yeah, that was a heart and mouth moment for Connor there. He just dropped it on exit of turn number 3. Luckily, he was able to catch the slide before it was too late, but well, he was really at an angle there, wasn't he? That was a brilliant save from him, but he's lost all that time that he was able to make up on the previous lap, so that's completely been undone. Kind of give Vaporize a bit of free rein to attack Campbell a bit more, because they haven't got that looming kind of effect from Connor, who's already managed to find himself back within 5/10 of a second. And I definitely think a move is crucial for Vaporizer, because he has got a 3-second time penalty coming his. Well, he must have got that for track limits, I assume. He's just going to have to stick behind for up towards turn number 1, but turn number 3 is probably where he's going to be fighting hardest against Campbell. He takes it nice and cautiously into turn number 1. Might have cost him a bit of time because Campbell is pulling away from him.
Yeah, Campbell pulling away up towards turn 3. Vaporizer is going to let through his own teammate. Oh, well, not his teammate, his NSX teammates, I should say. Alphatrix and Chapelletti, though, side by side, and Chapelletti there on the brakes gets the move done. Alphatrix was never defending that one, I think, as Chapelletti is now through, and he's up into 16th position. We joined there at the right time, as now Connor is going to attack Campbell. QVR against NSX. We saw this, of course, in pre-season between these two, Campbell and Connor. Are we going to see a repeat of this, as now Connor is onto the back of Campbell? I wonder why Vaporizer did that. I know they're probably in the same party, but inter-team tactics, really, in League of Europe, it's not really a great look as Campbell picks up a penalty.
Yo, and he makes a big mistake coming up with turn number 8 there, as well. Connor backed off quite a bit on Campbell, but maybe they're just trying to work together. It's not what you really like to see, because they're not official League of Europe teammates, they're just a part of the same esports org, but I'd hope that we don't see too much of that in the future. Connor, oh my goodness me, don't try it in towards Lauda. He's going to go up the inside, and he's got it done. Brilliant.
Campbell really didn't put up a fight, though, if I'm going to be honest. Connor is too, and he's up into 13th. He's good in the dries, but he's also good in the wets, it seems, as there Connor is still, he's up into 13th. Looks to me as if the rain might just be easing off slightly out on track, but only slightly. I think we've still got a lot of spray, of course, to go and to dispose of, with 25 to 30 litres, of course, that these Inters can dispose of out on track. It is D. Daniel who leads the way out on track. Let's have a look at the penalties, in fact. Everyone, Lando, Campbell, Vaporizer, Chapelletti, Kern and Cougar Games have picked up 3 seconds worth of time penalties out on track. And by the way, I just thought I'd pick up on something that you've been saying in commentary. You've said leeching, lurching and looming, all within about half an hour. Well done.
L is my favourite letter.
Goodness me, Campbell is coming into the pit lane. Connor coming into the pit lane as well. Oh. And both of these are going to have to go 16 laps on a set of Inters, I think, and make it, to be honest, if this was to stay wet. But look at the conditions. I think it's drying up.
It is.
For the winter Inters.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate that they had to do They really did have to pit because they were struggling with the tyres. They were on about 13 laps a piece. I definitely think Connor was one of the longest running. Cohen is on 14 laps on the same set of intermediates. They are beginning to wear off, and of course when you lose tread it becomes a lot harder to displace the water, which can make you lose so much more grip. So when the tyres go off in the wet, it is really it's not what you want to see, to be honest. So yeah, I definitely think they're going to have to come in very soon, but you are definitely right. I'm saying definitely way too many times, but yeah, it's true that it is easing off a bit, and we could see some dry running towards the end of the race.
Honestly, look on board with Zhao Zhao and compare to what we rode on board with coming into the pit lane just a lap ago. That rain is easing up out on track. It will not be too long. I think it'll be within the next 3 or 4 laps that the rain will actually stop. Then it's a case whether the track will dry enough towards the end of the race. And if that's the case, I think my theory is that we're going to see dry running from just before lap 30 out on track.
Yeah, I'd say you're right about that one, and I did pick up on something in the comments earlier that I believe it was Bag that said that someone was running a half wet setup, so I wouldn't understand why you'd run that in a mostly wet affected race. So I think we will. I think I might confirm it to be just that slight bit dry towards the end, with that they kind of have blocks that the weather comes in, and I think just for that last 1 or 2 blocks we'll see dry running.
Yeah, I think we will, but Daniel leading the way. Zhao Zhao in second currently. That 22 out of 36 has just begun here in Division 1. I may remind you, because Dan Hoggard is in the comment section, I can see still. It is Division 2 and Division 5 coming up after this, 8:10 UK time, so tune in for that. But if you're enjoying it, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell if you're new, because you won't miss anything. I think the rain has stopped.
It's definitely it is gone.
It stopped.
Yeah, we're not seeing. I'm riding on board with Zhao Zhao. There's nothing on the lens. So yeah, no. And look, that Cookie Games into the pit lane. He's on a set of medium tyres.
He's on an old set of medium.
It's early to pit.
That's way too early to pit. There's still too much spray out on track, and you'll see it now in towards turn 3. Cookie Games perfectly demonstrates why it's not medium componentized just yet, as he runs miles wide coming out of turn 3 there. But Daniel is into the pit lane from the lead of the race. Daniel is in to the pit lane from the lead of the race. This is a strategy that might really cost him out on track, and Daniel is in. He's gone too early. I think he's gone at least a lap or 2 too early here. Daniel is into the pit lane. What's awaiting him out on track? It's just had a soft compounded tyre. So Daniel is risking it completely. The track looks like it's going to dry, but I think this is the wrong call. I think if Zhao Zhao continues on at least another lap out on track, Yellow Flag in sector 2, that's just proof. It's not mediums, let alone softs out on tracks. Cookie Games has spun coming out of turn 8. Daniel, though, all the way down in 9th position, out on track. He rejoins behind Rocco. All of these guys ahead on a set of inters are going to be gaining the time on him. I cannot explain what he's done there. I think that's just cost him the race.
He's really laying it all completely on the line, but even Montana, DRS has been enabled, so it could have been he would just wanted to take that risk, and I think those softs are quicker, but he's behind Rocco. If he came out in fresh air, in clear air, then that would have been the perfect strategy call. Where are the 2 leading cars? Zhao Zhao's into the pit lane, M Short's in. This will be so close. It's
about 18 seconds a pit stop around here. The gap is 18.3. In theory, Zhao Zhao will be in the lead of this race when he comes out the pit lane out on track. He's already, I think, just out of his pit box, if I'm not mistaken, and now Zhao Zhao into the pit lane, goes under a set of softs. Daniel now coming out of the pit lane as well. This is going to be extraordinarily close. Coming out of the pit lane, I think he's going to have this, actually. Daniel might have cursed his strategy, but he's actually got it pinpoint perfection. Daniel is still in the lead of this race. That is absolutely remarkable from the Dutchman. The lap time, the dryness came in those tyres just at the right point for him, and he's now 9/10 ahead, but Zhao Zhao has only gained 2 or 3 tenths of a second out on track. And the most important thing is, Daniel's got warmer tyres, Zhao Zhao hasn't.
Yeah, he's already got that temperature in them, and it'll be just that little bit quicker because you need that heat in the tyres for the grip, the extra grip, and you can already see how Zhao Zhao is struggling. He locks up heavily, goes deep into turn number 4. These guys have a large buffer to M Short behind them, so it's going to be a 2-horse race right towards the end. These softs can make it. They will 100% make it towards the end of the Grand Prix, but finally we're actually going to see some track battle.
Tell you what, Zhao Zhao is quick. He is quicker than D. Daniel, and he's only just came out the pit lane. It's 0.4 of a second, and now D. Daniel and Zhao Zhao are about to battle for the race lead. The DRS, of course, is enabled. You can see Zhao Zhao running it down the straight. Not by that camera angle, you can't, but D. Daniel leading the way out on track from Zhao Zhao in second. Further down the field, Chapelletti and Vaporizer having a battle, but here comes Zhao Zhao up the hill and towards turn 3. But wise enough, he's not using any overtake mode. He just wants to get closer, and he just wants to try. I think it's a bit of full. Oh my God Almighty! I was going to say into a bit of full sense of hold out on track, but D. Daniel, my God, that was close. Zhao Zhao, so late on the brakes, he nearly went into the back of the leader.
That would have been
oh my God.
Disaster if that had actually happened. But well, I think
Montana.
We're all pleased.
Montana's down the inside of Name Changer, running into P10 now. Montana, and he's through on Name Changer. Both of these go quite a way back as well within the FOL days. And Montana is through, and he's up into 10th position. Here comes Name Changer, though, trying to fight this back. Chapelletti and Vaporizer are side by side, coming out of turn 3 as well. This is for 13th and 14th position out on track. Chapelletti to the inside on the German against the Dutchman. These share the borders, but they're sharing 13th position as they come in towards turn 4. Nearly make contact with Chapelletti on the inside line. Vaporizer on the outside line, and Vaporizer is still going to try and get this. Look at Zhao Zhao though for the race lead. Vaporizer and Chapelletti are still side by side, and Chapelletti, brilliant stuff around the outside, holds the position. That is great defensive driving if I've ever seen it, and Chapelletti remains in P13. There's so much now going on out on track. Zhao Zhao closes to 0.3 of a second off the leader.
Yeah, they're all turning it up a gear late in the Grand Prix. It just seems like he's just Zhao Zhao is that little bit too far back from D. Daniel to make a move in towards turn number 4, but you're catching, I think, in the semi-wet conditions.
It's Lando.
Really at the crossover point. Oh,
Lando.
Yeah, easy move.
Yeah, Lando through. Around the outside goes Lando. Absolutely dominant drive, I think, from Lando so far. Well, not dominant, but I think it's really been one of his best drives I've ever seen him drive out on track, and he's 5th now ahead of Verstappen. Really good move there. Rocco was slowly but surely creeping his way into it as well, possibly for a top 7 finish. He's got Kazizel and Neo just in front of him out on track, and Name Changer not giving up the battle on Montana. But it looks to me as if D. Daniel's now finally got back into that rhythm. It's 0.5 of a second out on track, but Zhao Zhao, you know he is going to come at him. Is he going to come at him here towards turn 2 and 3? I think the answer simply is no.
Yeah, Daniel's done really well to keep him at that just perfect distance where he can't attack him, and losing the car almost on exit. Zhao Zhao manages to save it. That was a bit like how Connor did it just a couple laps ago, but those little mistakes are just enough for D. Daniel to slip away and through his fingers, really, because he can't get close enough. He manages to make up 0.2 through turn number 4, so he's just rearing at the back of him. He needs to make this move as soon as possible. He got that little bit more overtake mode to really utilize, but look at this. They're actually the back of Cohen and Cookie Games, and D. Daniel could get a hint of DRS very shortly, but it might come just a little bit too late because Zhao Zhao now only 4.5 tenths back.
Zhao Zhao was so superior through the middle sector. He gains about 0.3 on a lap compared to, and that's just proof. He sets a new fastest lap of the race as well, but it's the hairpin that costs him. He's got to be more careful going into the hairpin. We're going to see now the lap time begin to fall down. I think if I was Zhao Zhao at this situation, I would just try and pressurise D. Daniel, possibly for that position, even further. Don't break late, don't get cost coming out of this hairpin. That's a lot better this time around. Again, though, he loses the time. It's for only 0.5 of a second, but that 0.5 of a second is the gap between you winning the race and you losing it.
Yeah, and well, he's running out of laps to really make that move. He's really strong through turn number 4 because he makes that time up. But as you said, the lap times are going to begin to crash down as Chapelletti just sets the fastest lap. I doubt it will stay that way for too long as Cohen picks up a 3-second time penalty. I believe that's his second of the race. Luckily for us, the top 4 yet to pick up a 3-second time penalty. The possibility is still there, but it's just good to see that they haven't got that little black and white flag next to their name as Alptrix makes the position on Campbell. It's so close.
Campbell's keeping it in there. The Scotsmen not giving up without a fight. Who would have thought these two would have been fighting for 16th and 17th position out on track? Nobody did. Coming into tonight is now Campbell. Comes down the inside line on Alphatrix. Can he get the move done? No, he can't. And now Jow fighting side by side. Tries to go on the inside of turn 3. Can he get the move done? No, it's shut. It's completely shut by D-Daniel. But now Jow is going to try and get the run down the straight in towards turn 4. They've got traffic just ahead in Koan and Kooky Games, and they're fighting that position, I believe, as well in 18th and 19th. But now D-Daniel, Jow, fight is on with 8 laps to go.
Yeah, well,
Kooky Games gets out of the way.
Because he gets out of the way, but he's cost himself time as Jow might have been a bit put off there. He locked up through turn number 5, and now he's just losing a slight bit of time to D-Daniel, so he's getting so close, and then he just can't execute it. He got so close through turn number 3. D-Daniel shut the door, and that was the window completely closed in his face. D-Daniel hasn't picked up from Cohen this in towards turn number 3. It has to be for Jow through turn number 1. This is going to be the move, I'd say.
I think D-Daniel, I thought, was going to pick up actually the detection point coming out of in towards turn 1 if Cohen was just ahead of him out on track, but he's not, and Jow cannot respond coming up the hill. He's so much later on the brakes, but it costs him coming out the hairpin. It's just cost him 0.2 of a second. Honestly, if I was in Jow's situation, I'd be trying to nail that turn 3 hairpin, because that turn 3 hairpin is so crucial on your lap. We've just got 6.5 laps to go now out on track, and it is D-Daniel who leads the way from Jow in second, M Short in third, and M Short is creeping ever closer. He's 4.8 seconds off. The gap was about 6 seconds at one stage. Both of these are just been I think Jow's been more hesitant than D-Daniel is, to be honest, with him being out in front. Jow's just been more hesitant, and that's just allowing M Short to just creep back into this. He's going to fall onto Cohen and Kooky Games before the end of the race. If these two battle, I don't think M Short's entirely out of it, to be honest.
Yeah, well, he's got to make that time up very soon, because the laps are running out, and it is a very short lap around this circuit, so it's not long before the race is over and all is said and done. So he has to pick up the pace if he wants to catch these. They are absolutely rapid at the sharp end of the field. He goes so late onto the brakes again. D-Daniel now's the one to make a mistake. It has to be.
Sun's just about to peer through the clouds as well here in Austria. It's D-Daniel who still leads Jow. Immediately turned off the overtake mode. He knew he wasn't going to get him down in towards turn 4, and it's critical ERS management as well. Jow's got 25% more than D-Daniel at this stage of the race. If I was a Jow fan, honestly, at this point, I'd be absolutely screaming at the TV to try and get the move done. D-Daniel, though, is hanging on for grim life. I know Jav is a fan in the comment section of D-Daniel, and D-Daniel now has got to hold him off. 5.5 laps to go. Vaporizer and Chapelletti are side by side as they come up towards turn 3, I think, out on track. No, they're down in towards turn 4. Vaporizer's through on Chapelletti, and through, and he's up into 13th. And they're catching Hardy and catching Name Changer as well. But D-Daniel leads the way. But Jow is as close as he's ever been as he now runs up in towards turn 3, halfway up the straight. Now he's going to try and get him. But D-Daniel is just so quick. Off turn 1, now through the kink of turn 2, now in towards turn 3, and Jow again cannot get close. But the thing that's going to work in his favour, tyres and the sun coming out.
Yeah, well, the temps are going to begin to rise as they just edge towards the dying laps of this race. D-Daniel, he's used up so much more of his ERS.
Kazizel and Neo nearly fighting side by side going over in towards turn 3. I thought we were going to get 3 wide for a moment there between Rocco and Rocco. In fact, has got a superior run on both of them here. Neo's going to try and go for Kazizel, but Rocco is going to have to sit on tight. Kazizel locks up. Jow picks up a 3-second time penalty, and that is costly. And that is coming out of turn 8. I think he's picked that up. So now Jow is not only going to get past D-Daniel, he's got to gain 3 seconds on D-Daniel if he was to get that move done. But now, game is now in D. Daniel's court. Zhao Zhao in second, M. Short in third. M. Short could still have a chance of picking up second. It's absolutely costly, though, for D. Daniel, for Zhao Zhao, I should say, out on track. But he is now surely going to have a go at D. Daniel. He has to commit this down the inside. He's not going to commit it here. Maybe down in towards turn 4 if he gets a good run. But again, he's just shoddy coming out of the hairpin. And D. Daniel just falls away from him. Every single answer every single question that Zhao Zhao asked, D. Daniel has an answer for.
Yeah, well, I don't think D. Daniel's gonna let him go by that easily, just because, well, it's all about pride, really, because you want to be the first one to cross the line, not the one, well, of course you want to be the one on top of the timing sheets, but to have that glory of seeing the checkered flag first is really what they lust for in this race. So he has to maintain this gap, and M. Short has also picked up a 3-second time penalty, so D. Daniel can just get around the lap cleanly. He's only got 3 more to do in this race. If he could just avoid getting a penalty, the win is his.
The win will be his out on track, but Zhao Zhao is a thorn in his side, and he's not giving this up without a fight. 3 laps to go here in Austria. It's D. Daniel who leads. Zhao Zhao in second. You would imagine with the time and the gap ebbing away, Zhao Zhao might try and have a go. But I think if I was being Zhao Zhao, I'd just take the second and go on to the next race. But D. Daniel still hanging on for absolute grim life out in front. And my co-commentator doesn't know this, but we are going to be inviting our race winner in after the race has been completed. I hope he knows that we're going to do that. But Verstappen now on the back of Lando, running down in towards turn 4. And I think Verstappen is through. QVR, you like to see it getting past an Excel driver. They've got one up on the XL team. Lando now down into 6th, Verstappen through and he's up into 5th as Connor is into the pit lane to attempt the fastest lap.
Yeah, he's going to snatch the fastest lap away from whoever maintains it at the moment, which does belong to him, actually. He's done a 104.9, so he's just going to go for all the glory. He's got no points to fight for in this race. Why not just take this last couple of laps to throw it all, really, at the line. I'm losing my words.
You're losing the words because it's been an insane race. Here comes Zhao Zhao on the back of D. Daniel. He's now going to have a go on the penultimate lap of the race. D. Daniel's now going to fight this hard, but Zhao Zhao is down the inside line. Can he get the move done? Yes, he does. Just about. D. Daniel nearly forced off track there, but Zhao Zhao is through. He's into the lead of the race, but now he's got to pull away 3 seconds from D. Daniel, and that is going to have to be EOS consumption now on this lap to go again on the next lap, because Zhao Zhao leads by 4/10 of a second. Further down the field, we're seeing an insane battle between Kazizel and Verstappen on the back of Lando. Lando now back through, but now we're going to have possibly 3 wide. Kazizel, Neo, Rocco down in towards the penultimate lap of the race, down in towards turn 4. Neo's going to try and get the switch back on Kazizel. They're going to be side by side as they come out towards turn 5 and 6. Kazizel is still there and still hanging on for grim life, but with a lap to go, Zhao Zhao leading. He's pulling away. Is it enough? Oh, there's a massive crash. Cohen has crashed coming out the final corner in the background. He is out of the race. There's going to be no safety car, no VSC. Zhao Zhao leads onto the final lap of the race, but Cohen, really unlucky, gets caught in the outside curb and is round.
That's so unfortunate for Cohen to finish off the race in that style, but he wasn't going to get any points out of this one. D. Daniel just has to bring it home, and the win is his. M. Short has a 3-second time penalty, so he'll probably lose that position to just ASAS behind him, as Verstappen can't find a way through on Lando. I don't actually remember Lando re-overtaking him, but he managed to get past the Dutchman, so... Dutchman, so I'm really pleased to see that from him as D. Daniel. He's only got one more sector in this race, and he will be the winner of this Grand Prix.
Zhao Zhao on his debut, though, you've got to give him a lot of credit, because he has took the fight to D. Daniel here tonight, and he is going to come out on track on top as he rounds the final corner. Connor picks up the fastest lap of the race, but Zhao Zhao around the final corner is going to win in Austria, but D. Daniel takes it off him by 2.8 seconds in the end. D. Daniel wins from Zhao Zhao in second. M. Short is going to be in favoured, with just ASAS getting third. M. Short down to fourth. Lando across the line to finish in fifth. Verstappen in sixth. Kazizel trying to find off the attentions of Neo and Rocco just in behind. It's going to be 7th, 8th and 9th for those, because there's Rocco up to 8th, Neo down to 9th. Montana, disappointing racer. Chapelelli has retired out on track. Montana across the line to finish in 10th. He's been overtaken though by Name Changer. Hardy across the line, as long as he's got no more penalties apart from Vaporizer, who's just picked up a 3-second time penalty. Hardy picks up the final points. Campbell and Alphatrix are nearly going side by side, running up the hill in towards turn 9 and turn 10 for the final time. Campbell will come across the line to finish in 14th position. Alphatrix, though, will come across the line to take that off him in 14th. And then we're just waiting on Connor, who track extends absolutely miles wide, coming through the final corner. He may as well. Questions are coming across the line. Don't even think he got across the line, to be honest, but he finishes. It's classed him as P16 nonetheless. Connor there at P16, but D. Daniel took the fight to Jow Jow. Jow Jow took the fight to him back. Lando gets awarded driver of the day, but it is D. Daniel who wins the first round of the season.
Yeah, though. He's finally stepped atop the podium. He's had podiums in the past, but this is his first where he's finished number 1. And there it is, the Dutchman. He celebrates and he takes his first win in League of Europe. Really massive congratulations, but what a way to start the season there.
Yeah, go on.
I can't even remember what I was going to say, but I'd imagine he'd be so pleased with that one. There's too many drivers that we can really pick for driver of the day, but he has to be a candidate.
He has to be a candidate, and he probably is a candidate. D. Daniel wins out on track. He took the lead early on, never looked back. Jow Jow in second, took the fight from on his debut. Really promising debut. Watch out for him in the season going forward. Just Ace in third, with them short in fourth. Lando, 17th on the grid, up to 5th. Take your hat off to him for finishing in the top 5. Verstappen in 6th, Kazizel in 7th, Rocco 19th up to 8th, and Neo 18th up to 9th. Good position gains for them. Name Changer 20th up to 10th as well. Montana in 11th. XL Hardy finishing off the point scoring positions. Vaporizer in 13th. Alphatrix 14th. Campbell 15th. Connor, not sure if he gets the fastest lap points or if it's counted in the top 12. He might do. Chapelelli in 17th. Kuka Games 18th. Cohen in 19th. And Toxic, the only DNF on our screen, but Cohen crashed. Kuka Games was 2 laps down, and Chapelelli was a lap down, and he crashed in 17th position as well. If we can try and get D. Daniel in, that'll be fantastic.
Yeah, well, I just hate how this party system works. I don't actually know how we're going to be able to do it.
You'll have to type in his name and add him, I think. Just add him to the...
That would help. I'll get that now.
Oh.
Maybe we can make a group chat for all the drivers and they just join at the end of the race, and we're the only 2 in the party during the Grand Prix. That could definitely be a viable option, but I've just added him to the group, so he should get an invite soon.
Yeah, so hopefully D. Daniel will be available for an interview first and foremost. Hopefully he does speak very fluent English, which would be fantastic. Looking ahead, though, to the rest of the season. You thought Austria was great. We've got Britain up next, Silverstone, for next week. Then it's Canada, then Russia, Monaco for round 5, China round 6, Australia round 7, France round 8, Singapore round 9. Then it's a week break in April to take the Easter break in. Japan after that 1 week break, Spain, Bahrain, the Dutch Grand Prix, Italy, Belgium and Brazil are going to be the ones that are going to be filling up the 16 race calendar, of course, in all 5 divisions of League of Europe moving forward. And the Austrian Grand Prix certainly lived up to expectations. Dan, I will cut across to you. Who was your driver of the day?
There's a lot of options to pick from. You got to say that the candidates are D. Daniel, Jow Jow, but for me, I'm going to say my driver of the day is Lando. This is his first race in Division 1, and he's managed to go from 17th position all the way up to 5th or 6th, I think it was at the end. So really well done. It was 5th for him. So really well done to Lando, and he's got to be my driver of the day.
Yeah, fantastic, I think, driving from Lando out on track to finish in 5th position, all the way down from, I think, 17th on the grid. Absolutely insane drive from Lando. I think he's probably a candidate for driver of the day. I've got to be honest and say D. Daniel is my driver of the day. I think it was just an absolute domination from him out in front. Took the race by the scruff of the neck, took it to the rest of the field, and in the end, he was rewarded and wins out on track. Jow Jow will be gutted, though, with that late 3-second time penalty. He thought he could take him. He did take him eventually, and if he didn't pick up that 3-second time penalty, well, it just comes to show it's racing at the end of the day, and unfortunately for him, he finishes in 2nd position. We'll hold on a couple more minutes to see if D. Daniel is going to join us here in the commentary box. It's like I'm surprising him with an interview, a late interview here. I haven't informed anybody, to be honest, but hopefully it is going to be great to see this really happen as we go through the season. As I say, next week is, just to remind you, the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, and that, if Austria was close in terms of qualifying, I think Britain might just be as close, maybe just a little bit far off.
Yeah, well, I'd definitely say that Britain's going to be a brilliant Grand Prix. A lot of drivers home races as well, so they're going to have a little bit of sentiment towards the British Grand Prix. It's going to be such a fun, and I can't wait for it. Of course, same time on Saturday. I really look forward to Saturdays now. Sometimes commentary can feel a bit like a chore to do, certainly not for the leagues that I do now, but every single race in League of Europe, I've been so excited to do it. So they really are just they're kind of reinforcing that for me with their incredible performances every single week.
I think as the race got on as well, we certainly saw the driving standards pick up as well. I know it's the first round of the season, but guys, treat every race like it's your last. Honestly, treat every race that it's going to be quite clean and be the best you can be out on track, because that is what makes a great sim racing driver. That's what makes a great driver in real life as well. And the driving standards did slip. I know it's the first round of the season, I totally respect that, but driving standards have got to improve, especially on the opening laps of the race. I don't want to see stupid reports coming to us and saying, oh, people's got qualifying bans, people's got race bans because of their actions out on track. Avoid 1 to 3 carnage is the message, and avoid, hopefully, any incidents out on track. It's racing at the end of the day, so anything can happen. It looks to me as if D. Daniel is going to desert us, unfortunately, which is an absolute shame, but we will end it off here, I think.
Yeah, we'll have to end it here. We can't wait for him all night. We invited him about 2 or 3 minutes ago, so it doesn't look like he's joining, sadly.
Which is a shame. Hopefully we'll be able to get some sort of interview with him before before next weekend's racing, certainly. But that is all from myself and Daniel Field, who took you through the action here tonight. Thank you so much to every single one of you. I think we peaked at nearly 40 viewers, I think, throughout that. Maybe even more than that out on track, which is absolutely brilliant. You are all legends, every single one of you. Fantastic to see. Fantastic to have League of Europe back on a Saturday night. We are your normality on a Saturday night. So for myself and Daniel Field, please stay safe out there. It is a crazy time that we are all living in. Please stay safe, keep your families safe, keep yourselves safe as well. Myself and Dan, we will see you next week for Division 1 in Britain. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.